Welcome to another quick Jesse Makes. Today we're going to talk about a quick modification I made to my dust collection system. So let's jump right in. The dust collection system is essentially a 1.5 horsepower blower motor that you probably can't see. That blows into a wind environmental HEPA filter, also that you probably can't see. And then this big plastic Oneida Super Dust Deputy XL. It's basically a cyclone that spins the air really fast. All the solids and chips get thrown out to the edges and then fall down this chute into this big, I think it's 6 or 7 inch flex tubing, into this 35-gallon Oneida steel drum. And that's where I made the modification. This is an Oneida 35-gallon steel drum. I think it's enamel coated or sprayed in some way that prevents corrosion, really ruggedly made. I like it quite a bit. But one of the issues you have is that these drums have to carry quite a bit of weight and hard material, so they have to be steel, hence you can't see into them. That makes it really hard to know when you're filling up the drum, and that can be a problem. Because if you fill up the drum all the way, you start to back the chips and dust all the way up the tube here. Eventually it backs up into the cyclone. The cyclone starts to not work very well and throw dust and chips into your actual fine HEPA filter. It's no good. It also makes it really difficult to then empty out the contents because it's full all the way. It's dust everywhere when you open this up. So you want to have some way of knowing before you fill it up. Oneida makes something called, I think, the Dust Sentry, something like that. It's basically a sensor, maybe ultrasonic or sonar, something like that, that you drill into the top and you set the alarm distance, and it has a big red flashing beacon that lets you know when the dust has approached that level so you can empty it. I've heard mixed things about it, but even if it's a great solution for you, it is something like $150. I wanted something that was a lot cheaper and that I could kind of hack in. So what I did was I drilled 3 holes into the side of my steel bin here. You can use a regular drill bit for that, just go a little slow. Then I cut a piece of clear acrylic and I used some silicone to seal this clear acrylic to the outside of the drum. And just to make sure it didn't come off, I put some quarter 20 bolts through here so it's mechanically and chemically fastened to this. So then what you end up with is you have 3 holes that are almost like little viewing windows into the dust bin. Now you won't be able to see dust itself, but I put a strip of LEDs underneath the cover here. And those LEDs are tied into the same power supply that runs the blower. So when I turn on the blower, you'll see the light turns on inside and illuminates these 3 windows. And then when the dust starts to fill up, you can actually see these 3 lights turn dark as the dust covers them. So if I can see all 3, I know that the dust is below this level. And then when it's 2, obviously the dust has come up to here, and 1, so on and so forth. I had some fun filming what it looks like inside the 35-gallon dust bin as it fills up. You can see the dust and chips coming in through the top port and filling in through the bottom, and you can kind of see through the back how those 3 light ports get covered up with the dust. Now you can see from the outside, as the dust fills up, again in QuickTime, how those 3 light ports get covered up, and you have an indication of how much dust there is in the bin. Pretty simple. This is far from a perfect solution, but one of the things I like about it is that even though I've added electricity and some lights to this, those lights are mounted to the lid. So I can actually undo the lid and remove the bin. And you can actually see that the light strip here just stays behind. So all the wiring is here. There's nothing to detach when you take the drum out. If you turn it on, we can see those lights illuminate. That's what this looks like. And this is what the window looks like from inside. Just 3 holes drilled. It butts up against this piece of acrylic that's on the outside, and then you have the bolts in here. So still pretty streamlined. Nothing's going to leak out of there. Pretty decent, cheap solution. One caution I want to leave you with is that wood dust in the air is very flammable. It's basically a flammable material, and you're creating just enough air between there to create the opportunity for explosion. So if you're going to do this, be sure to use LEDs or some other very cool running light source and protect it from the wood dust. I covered mine in silicone, and I suggest you do the same. Definitely don't use halogen or incandescent or any other source that gets hot. And if you can, seal all of the wiring and any sort of junctions with heat shrink tape and silicone, something that'll keep it away from the wood dust. And that way you'll have the best chance of keeping yourself safe here. Hope you enjoyed this quick tip. Join us next time for more.